Hey guys, we got our very first light frost last night, and I just got home from work, so I'm trying to gather up as much as I can from the garden before the sun goes down. Our first frost came a little bit early this year. It is October 17th today, so it did come a little bit early, but some parts of our garden are completely untouched by the frost, and some parts got a little bit nipped by it. You can see like this pepper looks totally fine. And this pepper has the yellowing on it like it got some frosting damage on it. So it's like this back garden tends to stay warmer than the front garden, so I'm going to gather up all the last peppers that we can get because we may not get any more after today. And we also need to get some seeds still saved out of the garden as well. Last night I pulled in the avocado tree and two of my ginger pots that are a little bit smaller that I want to have them grow a little bit more. So now I'm just pulling, I used all my holy basil seeds, so I had this basil separated back here from the other basils so that I could save seed from it. And I'm just cutting off the flower ends and putting it into a paper bag. And we may get some volunteers in the spring, but just in case. And what we'll do is we will let them dry in here, and we'll shake the heads out into the bag, and the seeds will settle into the bottom. Some green beans trying to come along. Boy, the temperature has really dropped. Alright. So now we've got a whole bag full of seeds for the spring. You can grab all your green tomatoes and bring them in too, put them in the windowsill, and they will ripen up, or you can make fried green tomatoes. The green beans I have left sit. I want them to dry so that we can use them in soups and stews as dried beans. So I'm not super concerned about getting all those picked tonight. I can get those tomorrow or this weekend. So I think everything in this back garden is okay for tonight. I do want to get my ginger out of the ground though, but I'm pretty sure I had some ants move into these buckets, so I have to be careful. The nice thing about the cooler weather is that the ants slow down, and even if they're in there, they move super slow when it's cold, so you are less likely to get attacked and bitten in the winter months here. So this is from our first bucket of ginger. It's a nice batch of ginger. I have 4 buckets of ginger. 2 of them I'm going to keep inside and let them keep growing and see how they do through the winter time. And I'm going to see, I'm going to get a glove. I don't want to put my hand in here if there is ants in here. So there was just a small piece of ginger left in there. The rest of it was roots. And let's pull out this one. I don't know if that one really grew very much. And then there is this one. So my first bucket did pretty well. My second bucket was okay. Not awesome. Probably got as much out of my second bucket as I put into it. This was the piece that it was growing off, so I'm going to put this back in, and if it grows more, awesome. But I don't think that it will continue to grow through the winter with the temperatures that we get here. You can see this part of the garden got super zapped with the frost last night. This was all lushy and green and growing yesterday, and it is sad and crispy today. I got my sweet potatoes out just in the nick of time. Alright, so I want to get cuttings off of my Genovese basil and bring it in. We're going to try to grow cuttings and see if we can grow it indoors through the winter. If not, no big deal, but we're gonna try. All right, so we've got 2 little vases of Genovese basil. It smells so amazing. Hopefully it'll work. If not, I'll buy seeds for next year. I've already gotten a good bit of seeds off of our zinnias by color. The only 2 that I still need to get colors from are the white zinnias and the light pink zinnias. But the purples and the reds and the oranges, I got all of those seeds already tucked away. I hate saying goodbye to the garden for the winter time, but you can feel it. You can feel that it's done for now. It'll be back. We'll come back re-energized and rejuvenated in the spring after a break, and we'll be ready to hit the ground running all over again for some new adventures. I think I'm gonna see what other tomatoes and peppers I can salvage from the garden tonight, and then I will give you the garden tour in the morning. It has actually been a couple of days since I started putting together our October garden tour video, and we are gonna head back out to the garden and finish it. Alright, so in our first row out here, we still have some butternut squash and some peppers. Our black beans started going again. Here is the black bean patch. I don't think it's gonna flower again. Like, there's a couple little flowers here, but I don't think it's going to make beans before we get a frost that's gonna kill all of this. But I'm not gonna pull it out. It's fine to do its thing. And then we've got our peppers here. We actually haven't gotten any rain since the hurricane came through. It's been almost 4 weeks since the hurricane came through. And so I've been pulling off our peppers as soon as they're big enough, even if they're not ripe, because if it does frost, it'll kill the peppers and we won't be able to really use them. But they are staying in. They probably need to get watered. I'm probably gonna have to hook up my hoses and get my irrigation going just for a little bit. We've got some butternut squash that are getting close to being finished. They may or may not get done before the frost happens. We shall see. And then the rest of this just needs to get covered up, except for the chives back there. That's more peppers over there. And the hurricane took out most of my corn. It just laid it completely down. So I've been working on slowly getting that pulled out. I want to bundle it up and use it as decorations on my front fence. All of our sweet potatoes are out of the ground, so that row is empty now. And there are still a couple of cherry tomatoes hanging on, and you can see some little pumpkins right there hanging on, but most of our tomatoes are just done for the season at this point. We've still got a bunch of volunteer holy basil mixed in with the corn here. This is where it was planted last year, and all of this just came up on its own. This middle section here I had planned to have completely full with cabbages and broccoli and cauliflower and all the winter things. It just didn't happen. And at this point, I don't know if I could get things big enough to go through the winter. We could try. My Brussels sprouts only got like this big. but I'll show you what we have. So in our middle section, we have a couple tomatoes, or not tomatoes, a couple pumpkins I can still grab. I may or may not be able to squeeze that one through the fence. I don't think so. But most of this corn I've already gotten pulled out. I'm getting ready to bundle it up so I can use it as a fall decoration. I'm gonna put it on our front fence posts over there. And some of our cabbages got destroyed with the hurricane, but some of them are doing really well. Like this one right here looks fantastic. This one's a cauliflower. I think that one is a cauliflower. So we may or may not get something off of it. The fall garden is always kind of a crapshoot. Like you never know if it's going to work or not and when the frost is going to come. So it's just kind of hit or miss. We've got our blue shelling peas over here against the fence. And I'm going to get into this section and finish mulching it because I have a mulching video for you guys too. But these are our blue shelling peas here. I have been coming out and watering these. I think if we had some rain, they would shoot up. And I'm really hoping that we can get some peas off of them before they get taken out by the winter as well. But you can see on this fence, our tomatoes are done. The cucumbers have been long gone. And the watermelon and pumpkins that were up here got zapped by the frost. Our green bean trellis got knocked over with the hurricane as well. And I really need to get out here and pull the dry green beans off. You can see there are tons and tons and tons and tons of green beans on here that have not been gotten, and they will be left to dry like this. This one's not quite dry, but then once they're dry, we'll pull them off and we'll store them for the winter time for beans or for stews and things like that. The garden is feeling super sparse right now, and I'm probably going to start getting it covered up pretty soon, putting it to bed for the winter time and letting it reset for spring. This row here we had pumpkins and flowers, which got zapped by the frost. We had broccoli out here, which they were from our spring garden, and there's a couple of them that are still kind of hanging on, but most of them are just dead and need to get pulled out and covered up. We had all of our squashes through here, and we still have some of the celosia in here, which apparently I was calling it the wrong name for a very long time. It's celosia, not amaranth, so just as a heads up for that. But it's beautiful and I love it, and we've already got seeds saved from the celosia, so we will have more of it next year. I also put some feelers out because I grew a lot of butternut squash. I only got a couple spaghetti squash and we've already eaten them. And they store really well in the pantry over winter. So I reached out in one of our homesteading groups in upstate South Carolina to find bushels of the squash that I could get. A lot of times when you buy in bulk, you can get a good price. I got a bushel each of butternut squash and spaghetti squash for $40 a bushel, which is a much better price than you would get even from Walmart. And they store through the winter. We've already eaten, oh man, I think we've already eaten like half of the spaghetti squash actually, and I think I just picked it up last week. The bees are still enjoying the basils out here. We saw some sunflowers, or we saw some butterflies on the zinnias. So they're still enjoying the flowers. So yes, we do still have, well, the jalapenos are making still jalapenos out here. There's a couple on there. The basils are still out here. I took some cuttings from the Genovese basil and I'm gonna try to get them rooted so that we can have the plants indoors during the winter and then plant them out in the spring again instead of having to buy seed. We'll see if it works. I've not been very good at getting cuttings to survive. But I'm going to try maybe some rooting powder or something, or honey. I have just put them in the soil and then they just don't work, but we're going to try. And our zinnias, look how big this holy basil is. It's huge. We got holy basil seeds saved. We got zinnia seeds saved. Yeah, there's not too much going on in the garden right now, but we do still have our flowers for the moment. My little chicks are up here tearing apart my urban tea garden. which is fine because I have a lot of work to do up here. But they're having a good time before they get integrated in with the bigger chickens up here in the front. We've got a few last flushes of rose blooms. We need to get in here and get the rest of the weeding done. I need to cut back the echinacea. Our rosemary is huge. The oregano's back there, but I have so much oregano stored in the pantry already. I may end up just like putting a shovel in this and splitting it up and sharing it, because that was my intention with planting it in the ground, is that I can just divide it and share it and it's never gonna die. Are you guys helping get all the bugs out of here? Yeah, thank you. Back here I've got my fennel, and I still need to get out here and get all those seeds off. I still have not done that, but again, I still have fennel in my pantry from last year, so I'm really not in a super need for it, but I hate for things to go to waste. But yes, this garden just needs some TLC, and then it will be feeling a lot better with a fresh layer of mulch and get all of these weeds out of here. We've already got the elderberry pruned because it got flopped in the hurricane, and this is going to need to get pruned. But usually I wait to do my pruning until like December or January, when it's really, really cold and all the sugars are down in the roots. And there's all these elderberry shoots coming up that need to go somewhere else. I've been getting a lot of the tea seeds off of the plants too as well. As they're getting ready, they open up and you can pull the seeds out. And I'm hoping I can get some to germinate next year and plant some more tea. My goal is to have tea plants as a hedge the whole way along this walkway. And if I don't have to buy all of them, if I can repopulate them for free, that would be the most ideal, versus having to go buy a bunch of plants. The bees are loving these ones too, because they flower in the fall. There are not very many things that flower in the fall for the bees to eat. Moving our way around the house, check out this azalea in full bloom in October. This part of the house only gets morning sun. That's why I plant my broccoli over here in the spring, because it doesn't get the heat of the day. And this lone azalea is in full bloom. My other azaleas are not. We still have a lot of work to do on this bed. Don't look at it right now. It's a disaster, but it's on the list. It's on the winter to-do list. Winter time is when I get the most projects done and a lot of the weeding and stuff done, because the weeds don't grow in the winter. Even though we don't get a whole ton of snow, the weeds don't grow in the winter, and we can actually make some progress. I had planted spinach in my son's little garden over here after his green beans were done, and the spinach is doing great. I've already taken a harvest off of it once and put it in with our food. It's not a ton. I'd like to have more in here, but it's what I have. And I'm hoping to get some lettuce started in here too, so we can do kind of baby greens, have a salad from it every couple days. This pepper and zinnia are just going to stay in here until they get killed by the frost, however long that may be. Oh, you know what? I forgot to show you this absolutely wild thing I saw the other day while I was up working in the front garden. Just wait till you see this. Look at these absolutely gorgeous, huge tomatoes growing in my rose bush. There must have been a seed that fell down, and they are growing up inside my rose bush, and they look gorgeous. So I'm watching really carefully to see our temperatures, because if it looks like it's gonna get really bad, I want to pull those because they're beautiful. But the good thing is our stuff that is closer to the house doesn't get frosted nearly as well. You want to say hello, sir? Mr. Castian over here. He's got just a couple more weeks before he goes back in with the ladies, and he is ready. He's getting feisty. I think you can smell them. Alright, so back in our back garden, we do still have a couple of tomatoes that are going. I pulled all the tomatoes off of them the other night when we were looking at having a frost, but they're still looking okay. Bee balm is on its last legs. Marigold is still beautiful. We haven't been pulling off the green beans. I'm waiting for them to dry and we're going to pull all of those off. We got garlic planted in here, and my cats have been a big pain in the butt, so I have that part covered up and they're still digging that part, so I have to get that covered up with some kind of hardware cloth or something so that they will leave my garlic alone and it can grow. They've been doing the same thing over here to my carrots. Like where I have this cover, it's fine, but back in there you can see where they dug and killed a bunch of my carrots. We've got regular shelling peas back here. I think these are Lincoln peas, if I remember correctly. And they need to grow a bit more. These ones are looking a lot better than the ones in the back, but I'm hopeful that we'll be able to get peas off of them before they are gone. Got more green beans over here. This corn is all done. I just haven't pulled it out yet because I don't want to disturb the green beans that are still growing. And our habanadas, I just pulled all the peppers off of these the other day, and there's a ton more peppers on there. They're looking fabulous. And we've got our rutabaga over here, which honestly needs to get watered. I'm just going to put the sprinkler on for a little bit, I think, because it has been a really long time since we've gotten any kind of rain. And these strawberries, they need to get relocated. This was from one strawberry runner that escaped out of a pot that I had strawberries in like 2 years ago, and look how it's taken over. It has reproduced like you would not believe. I love plants that reproduce on their own. I don't have to mess with anything and just give us food. It's amazing. We've got all of these random cherry tomato plants out here from apparently throwing scraps out or something. So I haven't weed whacked them down. I've just let them go, and when I see stuff that's ripe, I pull it off. So as you can see, we still have a lot of stuff going in our October garden. Not as much as in the summer, but we are more into the preserving mode right now. We have a lot of our harvest in, and so now we need to get the corn kernels out of the corn and shell the black beans and put them away, and the green beans, and all of those kinds of things, roast our pumpkins, and get all of our stuff ready for winter time and enjoy the fruits of our labor. We're in that mode right now where we have a lot of abundance from the garden and we can eat really well for the next couple months, which is really exciting and just makes me feel very calm knowing we have food at our disposal right here at home that we don't have to go anywhere to get. So I hope you guys are doing well. I hope that you have all gotten into the fall mood and you're ready for it, and I will see you next time. Bye.